I may have killed off the brain worms in my brain because of how much lacquer thinner was used in the making of this kit. But nonetheless, it is done. I'm going to apologize here in advance. You're not going to be able to see me moving this thing around a lot or doing a lot of the manipulation of this kit, because this is very difficult to do one-handed, and it has just this ginormous freaking spear, the Hakuji, and it really hates focusing on this, but it's goodness gracious, it's very large. So large that it comes with its own stand to hold it up, because the kit cannot hold it up without that. But this is, as it is titled officially on the packaging, this is Xavier's Gyan Hakuji packs, the MS-15/H. I'm assuming the H stands for Hakuji. Um, there's some stuff to unpack here. Number one being is that this one does not look at all like the original Gyan from the original Mobile Suit Gundam. It's gone through a very heavy redesign, like I've talked about in the unboxing. And I'm gonna be real with you, Chief. This is a way better looking design. This is a gorgeous design. I love it. It's still got that very distinct medieval armor motif, but it's also just better, like in every way. The original Gyan was interesting looking, but it was also pretty doofy looking, as a lot of stuff from the original Mobile Suit Gundam was. This one is just it's a very odd kit. Now, in terms of like actual construction of the mobile suit and its articulation and things of that nature, it's great. Like anything else in the GQuuuuuux line, highly articulated, really cool design language. Um, it's just really cool. The biggest thing though is that the part that disappoints me the most is that the Hakuji Lance, as I will attempt to force it to focus on, it's really not good. I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of not great. It it struggles. It really struggles. And the fact that it needs its own base to hold that up is a little bit disappointing. So, it's difficult to pose. It's kind of unwieldy, and honestly, it's it's just frustrating to deal with. The construction of it is also kind of not so great. It's got a giant seam line that runs down the middle of it. It does have some decent color separation, with the exception of the gold stripe, which I had to paint myself. As with all the gold on this kit, you may notice, if you've watched the anime or seen reviews of this kit before, the gold is different. I've done something different. And that is, I did not use any of the stickers. Initially, when I unboxed this kit, I was a little bit frustrated that it was just very sticker heavy. And my initial thoughts were, oh, we could use some of these. We just won't use the ones on the thighs because those are the most prominent, but they're also the most prone to wearing out. And then I just ultimately decided that no, we're not going to use any stickers. It's all going to be paint. And I did that with this fella. This is AK Interactive. Their gold, high gloss gold partner serial number. Oh my gosh, it doesn't want to focus. Serial number AK1301. This is a great just paint pen. It is lacquer based, so be careful using it. Don't do what I did. But this thing's really awesome. I got it for $8 at my local hobby shop. And you might notice that I'll just kind of go over where this has been painted. Some of it's a bit more subtle, so like on the chest, those stripes that are gold were painted. The mono eye, well, that was not gold paint, that was painted. I painted that by hand, just with a brush. Really simple to do, and it pretty much color matched the sticker pretty easily. These are really lovely. I like this design a lot, if it focuses. These lovely just gold stripes on the shield are all painted. On the legs, that little inner piece there has been painted as well. It's kind of, let's see, this is going to be the hard part about manipulating this kit, is that the lance constantly wants to fall over. It's very difficult, very difficult to see, but there is a thin gold panel line on the kneecap that I just did mix some paint thinner and dulled that down. All of these to kind of compensate for the lack of the stickers and the X-shaped stickers on the thighs. And you'll notice there's a part missing there. I'll get to that because that's part of the accessories I'll discuss. All the connecting points for the hoses or tubes, whatever these may be, they very Xeon design-esque design language for GQuuuuux, pretty standard with exposed like fuel parts. I did all of the little mounting brackets that attach to the leg and painted them gold, as well as the thrusters, or the mounting points for the thrusters, and on the backpack, those hook sections. The arms, which for whatever reason the camera was perfectly happy focusing on earlier, it just doesn't want to do anymore. So there's that panel line on the arms, and there's one on the elbows as well. On the back of the leg here, that was panel lined with a gold wash as well. And then, of course, the large stripe on the Hakuji itself. Interestingly enough, I guess we should kind of discuss, number one, the role of what the Hakuji Lance spear, it describes it as a spear. I'm going to use that interchangeably because I just do not care. What the role that thing plays. And my assumption is that this is sort of derived from the concept in Zeta Gundam of like shield boosters, in the fact that in universe, as it loses focus again, in universe, the Hakuji is what's referring to the Lance, which is why it has all these exposed fuel tanks. Right here, these orbs, those are fuel tanks, and it's got some thrusters on it. This is both a weapon, as much a, or sorry, I should rephrase this. This is as much a propulsion system and mobility aid as it is a weapon. This is designed to improve mobility in space combat, and it also just has a series of weaponry integrated, as well as being a melee weapon. I'm assuming it's probably useful for anti-ship rolls because it's a very large spear, but according to the manual, it also contains within it 3 railguns, which seems off because in the anime it looks very clearly like just the tip shoots like a regular beam rifle beam. So I don't know which is correct. That could have been made before that was finalized in the anime. Oh, something else I forgot. It's a little difficult to see. Oh dear. But the insides, the inner edges of the shoulder pads are painted gold as well. So it has that. The Hakuji is just it's a really interesting concept. I like the way it looks, but the actual execution, as well as the focus on this camera, the actual execution of it on the kit was just not well done. I also had some QC issues with mine, where the tip had a plastic molding error and it broke the moment panel lining fluid got into that mold error or molding defect, and it's now kind of being held together with glue. It's just disappointing. It hinders the kit. It's really frustrating, at least for me, that it just can't hold this on its own, which is understandable. This thing's gigantic. It's bigger in height than the kit itself. But, I mean, like, as a kit and a design, it's quite lovely looking. I will say that. This is a huge step up from the original Gyan design. Interestingly enough, the term Hakuji in Japanese, as far as I can tell, even though it's referring to the weapon, I believe Hakuji is actually a reference to a specific gold and white porcelain, like vases and pottery that were made in Japan. So it's more of a reference to the color scheme, but yet this weapon is just consistently in universe, both in this iteration and the regular Gyans that you see later. All have this weapon, and it's just called the Hakuji. It also weirdly, the official title of this mobile suit is the Hakuji Xavier's Gyan Hakuji Pax, plural. I don't know what that implies because there's only one Hakuji. It does have, like the original Gyan, it does have weapons integrated into its shield. This time, these little pedals here. I'm only going to do this on one of them, but all of them do open, and they have, it's really difficult to do this one-handed, but they do have a missile launcher inside there. Does not have the hide bomb dispenser where it's just the little holes on the front of the shield like the original Gyan. but I think this is cooler. So just know all of those pedals, all of these open, they're hinged. Um, I think it's a pretty cool shield. Now, as far as other accessories go, you do get uh, mainly two yellow beam saber blades and then two different hilts. Now, I need to explain this. The beam or saber, whatever you want to call it, it's stored on the hip. You can kind of see it right there. I've taken it off the other hip behind the shield, and it's this little thing. And it's just a little nubbin. Well, the idea is, I'm gonna do this off camera, or whatever. You pull the short hilt. You pull the short hilt out. Let me try this again. This is very difficult to do with one hand. Ooh. So you pull the shorter hilt out of the back here, and then you replace it with one of these longer ones. Again, trying to do this one-handed is not fun. I don't know if I can do it. But yeah, you replace it with one of the longer ones, and then you can plug the yellow beam saber blade into the tip. And the really cool thing is, you can kind of see it here, the wrists have a hinge. Please? Please? It's, yeah, okay, well, you know. I don't know why it doesn't want to focus. There we go. The wrists have a little hinge at the base, and so the wrists can move up and down and kind of get into that sort of fencing style pose that the Gyan is pretty well known for. Also, the inside of the Hakuji, I haven't panel lined it, but there is a decent amount of detail there, as you can see. And the grip itself is pretty nicely detailed. Um, you can, if you so desire, remove the top of the headpiece and maneuver that mono eye is just on a ball joint and have it looking wherever you'd like. I just am keeping it in the center for now. Again, just due to filming difficulties with this guy. He's a bit of a handful, literally speaking, just in terms of sheer size. Now, let me go ahead and move some of these accessories to the side. I'm going to do my best here to do a proper just kind of size comparison with the rest of the kits that I have from the line. So here it is with the Gelgoog. Let me kind of stand them side to side. There it is with the Gelgoog. You can see it's a bit taller than the Gelgoog. Here it is with the GQuuuuuux. And you can see there may be a little. I think if you were to like actually stand these with like in normal position side by side, they'd be about the same height. And lastly, here it is with the Red Gundam, who is a little lopsided at the moment. Again, the joys of filming with one hand. But he's the Gyan's a pretty sizable MS. It's got some decent articulation in it's actually double jointed in its abdominal region. I did lie. The only sticker I did use is just this very, very subtle, lighter or darker gray. My goodness. My goodness. The autofocus on this is terrible. It's a little tricky to make out. It's just a subtle, slightly darker gray Xeon logo that is on its chest. That's the only sticker I actually used. But overall, I do really like this kit. I just am kind of disappointed in the Hakuji part. It's fairly reasonably priced, especially for what you're getting. Just be aware that the Hakuji does kind of make it difficult to pose. And unless you want to do painting, kind of like what I did here, it's going to use a lot of stickers. There's, as you may notice, if you're more akin to the design of this, there's supposed to be a gold stripe on these hip pieces. There's a sticker for that. I opted not to use that, or just not paint that, and instead allocate the gold elsewhere. But, yeah, like, it's pretty reasonably priced. I think I paid just a little bit over $30 for this guy off of Amazon. I have seen him at my local hobby shop. Your local hobby stores may have this now too. A lot of these GQuuuuuux kits are finally making their way stateside here into normal retail, which is super nice. So I've seen that there. I definitely wanted to build more GQuuuuuux kits. I think these are fantastic. This is the best I think Bandai has ever done with a high grade line. I've never really had or felt any incentive to build high grade kits before until now. Mainly because I love the design work in GQuuuuuux. And Ikuto Yamashita is one of my favorite artists just in mecha anime. And this is no exception. I can definitely still recommend this kit. Again, price is reasonable, comes with some cool stuff, can do some cool stuff. You just have to be willing to either accept the fact that the stickers are not so great or do some paint work. Either way, though, it will look pretty good. I have seen people build this with the stickers, and it actually does not look bad at all. I know I just said that the stickers are not great, but honestly, if you know how to apply them correctly and well, like properly, it does look pretty good. I think the kit itself is just a gorgeous. I just love the Gyan, the new Gyan design. I think it's really quite nice looking. And he's fairly sizable. For an exact size, let me get the data from the manual. Oops. Let me read that off here. It should be about 19 meters. So yeah, it's about a meter taller than all of the other mobile suits we've looked at in the GQuuuuuux line, which tracks. It's taller. Um, there's also some interesting lore implications in the fact that both the Gelgoog and the Gyan are being employed by Zeon forces. Granted, it's not the Gelgoog that we think of, but in the original timeline, the Gyan and the Gelgoog were competitors for the next mainline mobile suit for Zeon forces. And the Gyan, like the original Gyan, this is very much a melee focused mobile suit, whereas the Gelgoog was more of a multi-purpose, kind of well-rounded mobile suit. And also, interestingly, like the Hakuji does address something that was mentioned in some MSV books and lore from the original universe and prime timeline, as we'll call it, is that the Gyan kind of lacked. It had really excellent AMBAC, which is non-thruster assisted mobility, and land-based mobility. However, thruster mobility and like space combat abilities, it kind of lacked in. The idea, I believe, is that it would get support. It would force enemy mobile suits into close range combat via the fire support from, like, say, a Rick Dom with its giant beam bazooka, and it could kind of pick off the stragglers and work in teams with those mobile suits. I I guess the Hakuji is just kind of the answer to those issues, and the fact that it is a mobility aid and a weapon, which is kind of an interesting concept. Not a new concept in Gundam. Again, I'm assuming this takes some inspiration from Zeta Gundam and the shield, the movable like frame systems and shield boosters and shield binder systems that were used by second generation mobile suits. So could be. It's really interesting in the anime when it appears, and like the kind of plot relevance and the fact that the guy who pilots this, Xavier Olivet, I believe is his name, was the original intended pilot for the GQuuuuux. Obviously, if you've seen the anime, that's not what ends up happening, but it is a really cool mobile suit. I like it quite a bit, and I can recommend it. I don't think it's still not it's not my favorite kit in this lineup. I think that still goes to the Gelgoog. That's just a super fun build and just really unique stuff. But this is a close second. Um, I like the HGG Quux and the HG Red Gundam perfectly fine. I think they're definitely fine kits. They do cool stuff, but they're just not. They just have the Gelgoog in this just bring a different kind of flavor to the universe that I just find very amusing and a lot of fun. But apart from that, Again, I apologize. This is a very difficult thing to move around. As you can see, this stand is really annoying. But I'm gonna go now and organize some more things and hope that the thinner usage, the paint thinner, got rid of the brain worms. I wouldn't recommend doing that though. Anyway, bye.